Jana Vallabha Girivaradhare Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhare Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachare Yamuna Tira Vanachare Yamuna Tira Vanachare Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihare Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihare Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhare Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhare Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachare Yamuna Tira Vanachare Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhare Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachare यमुनातीरावनचारे जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद जय चैतन्य जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद जय श्री कृष्ण श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद जय श्री कृष्ण नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Jaya Radha Vallabha Shri Radhe Jaya Radha Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Sri Radhe Jaya Radha Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jai Śrīmad Bhāgavatam Aštottar Sasi Śrīmad Abhayacharnaravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shyama Kunda Radha Kundi Giri Govardhan ki Jai Shri Vrindavan Dham ki Jai Shri Navdeep Mayapur Dham ki Jai Ganga Mai ki Yamuna Mai ki Bhaktivedanta Tulasi Maharani ki Shri Shri Gaurnitai ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Vallabh ki Jai Shri Shri Jagannath Baldev Subhadra Mai ki Harinam Sankirtan ki Jai Lakshman Mahaprabhu Mandir ki Jai Grantharaj Śrīmad Bhāgavatam ki Jai Tai Gaur Premanande Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskritya Naranchaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Deyad Mudiraye Nasta Praeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavatir Uttamasloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistikim We continue our reading from Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, Canto 5, Chapter 14. Chapter entitled The Forest of Enjoyment. Text number 31. Right? So again, this is a pro verse. So we're just going to read through the verse and then we'll go forward. Tatrapi nirabarodha svairena biharin ati kripana buddhir ananyo mukha nirikshana Gramya karmaneva vismrita kala badi tatrapi. In that condition, in the society of human beings descended from monkeys, nirabarodha, without hesitation, Swairena, independently, without reference of goal of life. Biharan, enjoys like monkeys. Atikripana buddhi, whose intelligence is dull because he does not properly utilize his assets. Anyonya, of one another. Mukha nirakshana adina, by seeing the faces. When a man sees a beautiful face of woman, and a woman sees the strong build of a man's body. They always desire one another. Gramya karmana, by material activities for sense gratification. Eva, only. Vismrita, forgotten. Kala vedhi, the limited span of life, after which one evolution may be degraded or elevated. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. In this way, the descendants of the monkeys intermingle with each other, and they are generally known as Shudras. Without hesitating, they live and move freely. Not knowing the goal of life, they are captivated simply by seeing the faces of one another, which reminds of them of sense gratification. They are always engaged in material activities, known as Gramya Karma, and they work hard for a material benefit. Thus, they forget completely that one day their small span of life will be finished and they will be degraded in the evolutionary cycle. Translation responsibly. In this way, the descendants of monkeys intermingle with each other, and they are generally known as Shudras. Without hesitating, they live and move freely. Not knowing the goal of life, they are captivated simply by seeing the faces of one another, which reminds them of sense gratification. They are always engaged in material activities, known as Gramya Karma, and they work hard for material benefit. Thus, they forget completely that one day their small span of life, lifespan will be finished, and they will be degraded in evolutionary cycle. Purport. The materialistic people are sometimes called Shudras or descendants of monkeys. Due to their monkey-like intelligence, they do not care to know how the evolutionary process is taking place, nor they are eager to know what will happen after they finish their small human life span. This is the attitude of Shudra. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission in this Krishna consciousness movement is trying to elevate Shudra to Brahmana platform, so they will know the real goal of life. Unfortunately, being overly attached to sense gratification, materialists are not serious in helping this movement. Instead, some of them try to suppress it. Thus, it is the business of monkeys to distribute the activities of Brahmanas. Disturb the activities of Brahmana. The descendants of monkey completely forget that they have to die, and they are very proud of their scientific knowledge and progress of the material civilization. The word Gramya Karma indicates the activity meant for an improvement of bodily comforts. Presently, all human society is engaged in improving economic condition and bodily comforts. People are not interested in knowing what is going to happen after death, nor do they believe in the transmigration of soul. When one scientifically studies the evolutionary theory, one can understand that human life is a junction where they may take a path of promotion or degradation. As stated in Śrīmad Bhāgavatam 9.25, Yanti deva brata devan, pitri yanti priti brata, bhutani yanti bhuteja, yanti mam yojina api mam. Those who worship the demigods will take birth amongst the demigods. Those who worship the ghosts and spirits will take birth amongst these beings, such beings. Those who worship ancestors go to the ancestors, and those who worship me will live with me. In this life, we have to prepare ourselves for promotion to the next life. Those who are in the mode of Rajaguna are generally interested in being promoted to the heavenly planets. Some unknowingly are degraded to lower animal forms. Those in the mode of goodness can engage in devotional service, and after that they can return back home, back to Godhead. Yanti mam yajino apimam. That is the real purpose of human life. This Krishna consciousness movement is trying to bring the intelligent human beings to the platform of devotional service. Instead of wasting time trying to attain the better position in the material life, one should simply endeavor to return back home, back to Godhead. Then all problems will be solved, as stated in Śrīmad Bhāgavatam 1.2.17. Srinvatam swakatha Krishna punya sravana kirtana hridantasto hi abhadrani vidunoti sutsratam. Sri Krishna, the personality Godhead, who is the Paramatma, super soul in everyone's heart and benefactor of the truthful devotees, cleanses the desire for a material enjoyment from the heart of the devotees who relishes his message, which are themselves virtuous and when properly heard and chanted. One simply has to follow the regulative principles, act like a Brahmana, chant the Hare Krishna mantra, and read Bhagavad Gita and Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. In this way, one purifies himself of the baser material modes, Tamoguna and Rajoguna, and becomes free from the greed of these modes, can attain a complete peace of mind. In this way, one can understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead and one's relationship with Him, and thus be promoted to the higher perfection, Siddhim Paramam Gataha. Om Jnanatimirantasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshurunmilitan Mena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamsa Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Visakamitam Sa He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarurvyascha Kripa Sindhu Vevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. In this way, the descendants of monkey intermingle with each other, and they are generally known as Shudras. Without hesitating, they live and move freely, one not knowing the goal of life. They are captivated simply by seeing the faces of one another, which reminds them of their sense gratification. They are always engaged in material activities, known as Gramya Karma, and they work hard for material benefits. Thus, they forget completely that one day their small span of life will be finished, and they will be degraded in evolutionary cycle. This is the continuation, the teachings of Jadbharat to Maharaj Rahugana. Maharaj Jadbharat spent nearly, 3 or 4 chapters in giving a very spiritual instruction to Maharaj Rahugana. And last chapter, the chapter 13, he went through all those instructions, and at the end of the chapter 13, Maharaj Parikshit asked questions, requests Sukadeva Goswami to elaborate further the teachings of Jadbharat. So this chapter, the chapter 14, Sukadeva Goswami is elaborating the teachings taught or the instruction given by Jadbharat to Rahugana. And so the Sukadeva Goswami is further elaborating these instructions. So this verse actually linked or in connections with the previous chapter's text number 18, where Jadbharat says, when the living entity becomes exactly like a monkey, jumping from one branch to another, this is the text 18 from the chapter 13, last chapter. When the living entity becomes exactly like a monkey, jumping from one branch to another, he remains in tree of household life, without any profit but sex. Thus he, kicked by his wife, just like a he-ass, unable to gain the release. He remains helplessly in that position. Sometimes he falls victim of an incurable disease, which is like a falling into a mountain cave. He becomes afraid of death, which is like an elephant in the back of that cave, and he remains stranded, grasping at the twigs and branches of the creeper. So this was the last chapter Jadbharat explained. So now Sukadeva Goswami is elaborating on the same verse in this next, this verse or previous verse continuation, and then a few more verses that will be all related to the monkeys, business of monkeys. The living entity is compared to a monkey who's in a wild forest. So, what are some of the characteristics of monkeys we can think of? Jumping. Yes, Adipura says jumping. Yes. Monkey jumps from one branch to another. And what is that compared to in this allegorical story? Monkey jumping from one branch to another. What is it relating in the metaphorical context? Yes, the Pandit is right in front of us. Huh? One body to another. So monkey jumps from one branch to the next. That is compared to a living entity moving from one body to another, one planet to another. That is the monkey business. Any other? Monkey? Characteristic of monkey?
One plant on the planet.
Yes, that is discussed. Yes, one jumps from one body to another. Yes, jumping from one branch to another. Yeah, that's correct. Uncontrolled mind. Have you seen monkey? I mean, somebody sent me a little clip of a monkey. I mean, like somebody had a monkey pet, right? So it's like a baby monkey, two monkeys together. It's like a minute or two a clip, right? The monkey. So they had this. They bathed them. It's just like looking after some pet. They bathed them and they had a nappy on, and they even had that tail sticking out of the nappy out. And then there was a monkey, right? And it's a feeding time, and I was just watching. I happened to watch. And this monkey, the pet owner is trying to make the monkey sit in one place. And she had some food, some fruits, bananas in front of him. And that monkey, she was just trying to constantly grab him and make him sit there. So you sit there. She's trying to train him to sit there one place and eat, right? Rather than just jumping up here and there. So this constant, like it was going, puts him back there. Again, and you just want to get the monkey. So it's totally uncontrolled mind that is compared. Like it's just out of control. They can't sit there for a second. And as soon as you see the food, as soon as there's some other monkey, they just want to be just uncontrolled. No? So they're flickering, cannot sit. Any other monkey characteristics of monkey?
It wants speck in exchange for food.
Oh yes. This reminds me of Vrindavan days. Oh wow. Monkeys want specks. Yeah. I mean, this wasn't there. I mean, I remember from some 70s, 80s monkey. I've never seen monkey grabbing somebody's glasses off the. But nowadays, it's just jump. It's in a specific place. It's in Vrindavan. It's not everywhere. I mean, there's specific. If you're in a Loi Bazaar, there's just Hira jewelry, just next to that. There's one, a few monkeys are well trained, just on that vicinity. And then they're just waiting for it. The whole meditation is who's wearing glasses. And then just behind from the behind they'll just jump, and very quickly just take off and just go there. And they're very, very well trained. They just look around. They hold it for a second. They won't start chewing. Normally, so they will wait for a few, they'll just start, somebody is now, yeah. And he even, and then it's nobody paying attention or something. Then they start chewing, So what is their motive behind this? The motive is something to fill the belly. They want to eat something, give me something to eat. They're so notoriously, they go into this, act of, harming somebody or taking somebody else's property. And then what is the business? Is to fill the belly. So living entity also has the same mentality. by any means, hook or crook, just even if it's in the point of harming somebody else, or somebody stealing somebody's property or anything. That is what is compared to like the living entity is a monkey, going and creating a disturbance, or being greedy and then trying to harm other and trying to fill his own wishes and desires and belly. So this is the monkey. And another observation of the monkey I've observed in Vrindavan is they're kind of selfish. I mean, this is this scene in the character of like the monkey has got a little baby. You notice if they get something to eat, and the baby is always trying to get that to eat, but the mother monkey always pushes him. He will never share food. Never. I haven't seen a monkey sharing a food. Even to the little baby, just off the and they're always trying to get off the moms, and the moms will always pushes away. In equally opposite side, the monkeys are so united in terms of theirs. Like if one monkey gets attacked, entire monkey will come in and they unite. I remember this is very early days, right in the 80s. Burjan Prabhu's son, and we were in the tour in Founder-Acharya, I think it was, with a bunch of Gurukul boys and Burjan Prabhu, Jagatarani Mataji, and his son, Jai Gurupad. He was must be 4 or 5 or 6, very young. So we were there, staying in the guest house, one like a dharamsala type of guest house. And me and Jai Gurupad, which is 4 years old, I was holding him. We went on the roof. I don't know where he got it. Jai Gurupad got this stone or some piece of brick. And there was a whole group of monkeys, And I was holding him. And somewhere I don't know where he got that stone, and he just whacked the baby monkey with that stone. And as soon as that scream was of the baby monkey was there, now you get this from nowhere. And so it was like 20 or 30 of the big monkeys. Quack, 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 quack. And this is, with those scary. And I just didn't know what to do. It's like as soon as... So there was the stairs going down. We were on the roof. So we are going down. So I rolled Jagurupad off the stairs, just rolled him off. So because walking would be too slow. Just rolled him off. And then I followed after him. We just got to the bottom of the stairs and just grabbed him again, go inside the room and locked the door. There was 20 monkeys in the door. They just wanted to pounce on us, They were so, anyway, there was a... So, another character of the monkey, they are, as mentioned in the verse, is freely intermingling. No discrimination. Mothers, sisters, brothers, everything just goes, life goes. Free, mate, free. Just do what you like. That is one of the characters of the monkey. We see that is. We are seeing in this, isn't it? Get free. It just it doesn't matter. Today with this partner, tomorrow next with the next partner. There's no discrimination. And monkeys are highly territorial. I don't know if you noticed. If another monkey from another territory comes into their territory, he will be thrashed. I've seen in Vrindavan, yeah. I mean, you can recognize, because I live in like middle of the monkeys, and we can recognize, so this monkey is from this territory. And as soon as you get, some other monkey comes, that's it. He is, And if the monkey from one territory goes to another territory, abandon their original territory, if he comes back, he'll be finished. So better remain on the territory, in their territory. So it's just like, like we have, saying, okay, my country, I am from this territory, this is mine, right? And if you are not from this, you are outcast. This is monkey business. Same thing. It's just coming into our mentality, human mentality. The example of monkey is very appropriate. I mean, it's just giving very, fitting into our human society in some ways. My country, my territory. I'm black. I'm white. And this is the very first teaching of Bhagavad Gita, says, I am not this body. And we are all part and parcel of Lord. Where does it come from? Where is it like, okay, you can one lifetime or a few, lifetime you can say, okay, I am American, I'm Australian, I'm Indian, this, that, or other. But when you die, that's it, gone, finished. Next life you may be somewhere else, which you may be hating that country. Or this life you may be thinking, oh, I hate, I don't want to be part of that country. Who knows? You may be meditating, you may be born into that country. Right? Yeah. So, Srila Prabhupada begins his purport by, materialistic people are sometimes called Sudras or descendants of monkeys due to their monkey-like intelligence. The Sanskrit word used here is ati kripana buddhi. What's kripana? Miser. One who has keeps it for himself. What's the opposite of kripana? Brahmana. At who he gives open-handedly. What does he give? What Brahmana gives? Knowledge, teachings. Ati kripana buddhi. That is the monkey mentality. They do not care to know how the evolutionary process is taking place. What's the evolutionary process mentioned in our scripture? How many species? 8.4 million species, right? 900,000 in the water. What's next? Jalaja navalakshani stavara laksavimshati. So as soon as evolution starts at the water, then it comes to the land. What is the first thing? Plants, is it? Jalaja navalakshani. Plants, there's stavara. Means that's immovable. Stavara means that does not move. Then something that moves, like insects and reptiles. 11,000. So like that, they say, whole evolutionary process. And rarely at the final top is human birth, which is rare, very rare. So Prabhupada says, they do not care to know how the evolutionary process is taking place. They're not eager to know what will happen after they finish their small human lifespan.
1 million years. 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 1 milli How many years we live? 100? Prahlad Maharaj gives 100. Very generous. In 7th canto, Prahlad Maharaj says, we live for 100. Yes? Scientists? Brajaraj Prabhu? 100 years? No? Brajaraj Prabhu said, Brajaraj, the scientist has confirmed we don't even live for 100 years. So, nowadays we believe in the scientists, right? We are, science is everything, right? Scientist has proved, he says, now we don't even live for 100 years. But Prahlad Maharaj says 100 years. He gives, he's generous, right?
Now coronavirus will decide.
No, this is somewhere else. We don't even decide. Is it true? Yes, true. Coronavirus is very being Karuna. Karuna virus. Corona become Karuna. So Prahlad Maharaj said, we live for 100 years. And 50 years, he just reduces just like that. He says, we sleep 12 hours a day. That 50 years is gone from 100. Yes? This is in the 7th canto. Chapter 6, Prahlad Maharaj is giving instruction to his classmates. Saying, out of 100 we sleep, 50 years is gone, just sleep. That's it. And first 10 years, we play and go. Gone. So, 50 plus 10? 60. 60 gone. And then he says, another 20, frivolously we play. And then 20 years, old age in 20 years. And he said, remainder is 10. What do we do with the 10? He says, we have option. Either we can, engage in devotion service, or people are generally waste their life of 10 years, which is somewhat they can. Prahlad Maharaj says that is the 10 years, you can utilize the best. But generally, Prahlad Maharaj says that even that 10 years is wasted in gratification. He says this is text 7 and from the text Canto 7, chapter 6. It says, in the tender age of childhood, where everyone is bewildered, one passes 10 years. Similarly, the boy who engages in sporting and playing, one passes another 10 years. In this way, 20 years is passed. Similarly, the old age, when one is invalid, unable to perform even the material activities, one passes another 20 years wastefully. So the 50 years is gone sleeping, and then the 40 years is already gone. Remainder is 10 years. So, boyhood, 10, little younger, adolescent and playing, 20, another 10, 20. Old age is 20. So in between there's that's the time, generally you get married, you start your family, this, that, or other. That's the time. Prahlad Maharaj says, that's the time we should be do. One whose mind and senses uncontrolled becomes increasingly attached to the family life because of the insatiable lusty desires and strong illusion. In such a madman's life, the remaining years are also wasted because even during those years he cannot engage himself in devotional service. This is Prahlad Maharaj, Prahlada Vacha. So when Prabhupada says the small span, human span life, small life, Prahlad Maharaj divides that small human life as this way. Prabhupada further goes in the purport. This is the attitude of Shudra, the descendant of monkey, completely forgets they have to die, and they are proud of their scientific knowledge and progress in material civilization. Another Prabhupada quotes another one. The word Gramya Karmana. We heard that word, right? In the sloka? Gramya Karmana. What's Gramya Karmana? Yes, activities that are just for a gratification. Huh? The word Gramya Karmana indicates activities meant for only the improvement of bodily comforts. Gramya Karmana. We have Gramya Katha also we hear normally, right? Gramya means useless. So Gramya Karmana is karma or activities that you do is useless, which is basically, Presently, all human society is engaged in improving economic conditions and bodily comforts. So that is what is referred to as Gramya Karmana. People are not interested to know what is going to happen after death, nor do they believe in transmigration of the soul. My current job allows me to go to different places, it's part of my job. So I visited a factory. I was just, the Bhagavatam is there, we'll hear and we just, learn the theory. But now I'm seeing that is, like impractical, so I went to the factory and I had an appointment. So I had an appointment with the general manager. So in the morning I was thinking, hang on, I'm going to this factory and then, I should be more presentable and I should have a better dress than the normal average dress. So I was thinking, then I said, okay, I'm just going to go casual, whatever, the dress, normal standard uniform, I'll go there. So I went there. So when I got there and then I rang up, I got lost a little bit, and so I said, because it's a big factory, I said, rang him up and then said, whereabouts should I meet you? And he said, meet me in this place. So I went there. And this person comes, he had this clothings, which was like big black spots everywhere. I said, I'm looking for Peter. And he said, yes, that's me. He was a general manager. He was almost a CEO, almost on the CEO level. Then I said, okay. And then I had an introduction with him, and then he said, okay, now this is the next person. He's my secretary. And he introduced, he was equally almost in the same, he even had patches of black spots in the clothing and everything. I said, okay. Anyway, so my job was to go inside the factory and then assess the lights and everything, what kind of lights they have and everything. So they took me to the factory. To my surprise, I couldn't, there were about hundreds and hundreds of people working there. Big factory. It's a rubber manufacturing factory. To my disbelief, I could not recognize I could not see a person. When I got into the factory, I was outside, I was already surprised myself. I said, when I went there, the whole face, the hand, the entire clothes, everything was just black, including the actual face. Just smeared with the black, the rubber. And day in, day out they work, but they're huge, the guys with the big muscular and everything. But the working condition, I was just thinking, my God, to be able, working, it's black, it's dark, the whole factory is just dark, and it's just black. It's just, and I see everyone just walking out is completely oblivious and just normal for them to be in that condition and walking around. Hey, how's it going? Hey, it's all good. It's this, that, it's just completely normal. And it was just, for me, it was like, okay, oh my God, where am I? Am I in the right place? So this is, I'm saying a practical, in practical, I'm saying Gramya Karmana, right? And for them, maybe just finish the work and go home and have drink a beer and that's it. And life is come back next day and do the same thing. So that's what's this in the most the factories, and this is what it is. It's working hard, and drink a beer. Another point Prabhupada makes in the purport, he said, when the scientifically studies the evolutionary theory, one can understand the human life is a junction. What does that mean? Human life is a junction. Sorry? Sorry, missed that. Yes. Junction is aware that you have option to go this direction or that direction. Correct? So why is the human life is compared to as a junction? Because human life only in the human life we are able to make a choice. Rest of these species, they will go through the autopilot, and they will move into different spaces. However, in the human life, the only option we have is to make a choice where we would like to go. We can either degrade himself, as Prabhupada says, junction where one may take the path of promotion or degradation. Right? That's why it's called human birth is a junction. Human life is a junction, Prabhupada says. Prabhupada quotes a verse from Bhagavad Gita 9.25. Yanti deva vrata devan pitri yanti pitri vrata bhutani yanti bhuteja mam yanti mam yajano pimam. You worship demigod, you will go to yanti vrata, yanti deva vrata devan. Yanti means go. They will go to where? If you worship demigod, you will go to demigod. If you worship Bhoot, you go to Bhoot. Bhutani. You worship Pitri, you go to Pitri. Then Krishna says, finally he says, you worship my devotees, come to me. So that option, we have it in the human life only. Not any others. Prabhupada says, instead of wasting time trying to attain the better position in the material life, one should simply endeavor to return back home, back to Godhead. Then all problems will be solved, as Prabhupada clearly likes to wit. He just boldly says it. Then all problems solved. You go home, return back home, back to Godhead. Prabhupada says, then all problem will be solved. And he quotes the Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, Śrīmad Sukadeva Krishna Punya Sravana Kirtana Hridayantastu hi abhadrani vidroti srut satam. He gives a process. What's the process? Devotional service, that's it. Śrīmad Swakatha Krishna. Śrīmad means those who are develop the urge to hear the message of Śrīmad Swakatha Krishna. Swakatha is referred to Krishna's word. Swa means his words. So what are the words of Krishna? Śrīmad Bhāgavad Gita. Śrīmad, those who have developed the urge to hear. Swakatha Krishna. Punya Sravana Kirtana. The activities of Shravan and Kirtan is compared to as punya or virtuous activity. What is the result? Hridaya antastohi avadrani. What's avadrani? inauspiciousness, abhadrani, hirdayantastohi, in the core of their heart, the abhadra, all the abhadras are sitting. Where is sitting? What happens? Vidunoti. Dhunoti means dhul, like a dhona, like a dhobi god. They go in Vrindavan. Remember, there's Bhagavan Das? Yeah. You remember? He used to come in, the dhobi. This go bang and bang, they beat the clothes on the stone. So similarly, Bhagavatam says, dhunoti, vidunoti, washes away all that dirt that is accumulated for, as Mahaprabhu says, dirt accumulated for years in the heart. Hirdayantasto hi avadrani vidunoti suhrit satam. Satams are devotees. So that's Prabhupada quotes that verse, very beautiful verse. And Prabhupada further goes into Prabhupada says, one simply has to follow the regulatory principles, act like a brahmana, chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, and read Bhagavad Gita and Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. So, what is our scriptures? Prabhupada recommends Bhagavad Gita and Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. Shankaracharya in the Gita Mahatmya says, Maline mochanam pumsha. Malina is what? The dirt. Mochana means washing. Jalam snanam dine dine. You wash your body dine dine every day with the water and you clean. That is the cleaning of the body. Right? And he says, Sakrit Gitamrita Snanam. Sakrit. I was just looking at this word Sakrit in Sanskrit dictionary. And he says, once, very quickly, doesn't have to be, taking long time, you do it for a duration of period. Sakrit, the word means once, but very quickly. You don't have to take a long time, it means. So Shankaracharya uses this word, Sakrit, Gitamrita Snanam. You bathe in the teachings of Gita. What is the result? Samsara malamochanam, masanam, means you be liberated from this the cycle of birth and death. Maline mochanam pumsa jala snanam dine dine. Sakrit gitamrita snanam samsara malamochanam. Just by once trying to attempt even to read, and so it has a potency to take you out from this cycle of birth and death, samsara, malamosanam, noshanam. He further says, Sarvopanishado gavo dogdha gopalanandana. This is my favorite one. Partho vatsat sudhir govogta dogdha gitamrita mahat. The Gita, Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, is the essence of Sarva Upanishad. Sarva means all Upanishad, the essence, Sarva Upanishado Gavo, that has come into the form. This is the metaphorical example of that is like a cow. Who is the so the essence is the cow, the come in the form of cow. And who's the dogda? Who's the milkman? Who takes the Nanda? Yeah, Gopala Nandana. Krishna is the Partho Vatsa. Have you? Who has done the milking of a cow here? There's few things involved with the milking of a cow. You need to have a cow. You need to have somebody who's going to take out the milk. You need the calf. Right? So with the analogy of the cow and the milk, so when you see a milk, so how many people involved? I mean, what's involved is like cow is, you require a cow, you require a calf, you require somebody to milk the cow, so, and a milk, and somebody to drink. Of course, there is the grass, there is the water, and everything else. So, all the Upanishads are like a cow. The milker of the cow is Lord Krishna, the son of Nanda. Arjuna is the calf. The beautiful nectar of the Gita is the milk. And the fortunate devotee of fine, theistic, intelligent are the drinkers and the enjoyers of the milk. This is Shankaracharya glorifying the Bhagavad Gita. Ekam sastram devaki putra gitam eko devo devaki putra eva eko mantra tasya namani yani karmapi ekam tasya devasya seva. Shankaracharya said, just do one thing, one of this. Ekam sastram. If you take all the sastras, take one sastra. There's so many sastras we have, right? He says, Eka sastram devaki putra gitam. The Gita spoken by Devaki Putra or Krishna, right? That is enough. Eko devo devaki putra eva. You worship Devaki Putra. Devo, the God. One Shastra, one God. The Shastra that is spoken by Devaki Putra, and the God is Devaki Putra. One mantra, tasya namani yani. One mantra, you just name his name. That is enough. Karmapi ekam tasya devasya seva. So you have one literature, which is Gita, one object to worship, Devaki Putra, eko mantra, his name, and the activities you want to do, tasya seva, do his seva. That is Shankaracharya glorifying Gita. Prabhupada is mentioning us to read Gita and Bhagavatam, right? So let's go to Bhagavatam. What is Bhagavatam? I'm just going through what Prabhupada says, and the Prabhupada says, he says to read Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam. I'm just giving you why we should read. What is these? If we have these two literatures for us, that is enough for us to understand the entire, the cosmicity of the Vedas. Nigama kalpataru galitam phalam sukhamukhad amritas drabya samyutam pivatam bhagavatam rasam alayam mahur rasika bhuvi bhavaka. Nigama kalpataru. It is compared to as a kalpataru. Kalpataru is a desired tree, wish-fulfilling tree. So Nigama refers to entire Vedic knowledge. Bhagavatam is the wish-fulfilling, the conclusion of the entire Vedic knowledge. Nigama kalpa. And which is like what? Galitam phalam is completely ripened to the perfection of the ripened perfect stage. Galitam phalam, that's the fruit. And it is coming out of Sukhamukhad. It is coming out of Sukadeva Goswami's nectarine mouth. Amrita, Drava, Samyutam, very perfectly palatable, balanced, which can be drunken. Pivata. You don't even have to endeavor to actually make it chewing. Chewing, it takes time. You can just relish it. Just put it in your mouth and it's gone. Such is the Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. Vyasadeva glorifies the Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. And who enjoys? Those who are in Rasika, Mahur, Rasika. What is the Rasa and Rasika? Those who enjoy the Rasa are Rasikas. This is in the 12th canto. Sutta Goswami glorifies Bhagavatam. From beginning to end, Śrīmad Bhāgavatam is full of nectarian narrations. That encourages renunciation of material life. So what is the subject matter of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam? Renunciation, vairagya. As well as the nectarian accounts of Lord Hari's transcendental pastimes, which gives ecstasy to the saintly devotees and demigods. Sarva Vedanta Saram Yad. Sarva Vedanta Shara. Again, Bhagavatam is referred to as a Sarva means all, Veda Anta, the conclusion of the Veda, and it is the Sara, the essence, it is the conclusion. Bhagavatam is Sarva Vedanta Sharam Yad. This Śrīmad Bhāgavatam is the essence of all Vedanta philosophy, because its subject matter is the absolute truth, which while non-different from the spirit soul, it is the ultimate reality, one without a second. The goal of this literature is exclusive devotional service unto the Supreme Truth. What's the goal of the conclusive teaching of Śrīmad Bhāgavatam is devotional service to the Lord. Śrīmad Bhāgavatam Puranam Amalam Yad Vaishnavanam Priyam. So, Amala Purana, Mala refers to dirt, Mal. Amal Purana, Śrīmad Bhāgavatam Puranam Amalam Yad Vaishnavanam Priyam. It is dear to the Vaishnavas. What does it teach inside? It teaches Tatra Jnana Vairagya Bhakti Sahitam. So 3 things. It teaches you Jnana, Vairagya, Bhakti. Most importantly, Bhakti. Naiskarmyam Viskritam. Karma is fruitive activities. This is, it does not deal with the fruitive activities. So what it deals with? It teaches Jnana, Vairagya, and Naiskarmya. It rejects the Karma Kanda section completely. It teaches the Bhakti, most importantly. Just like we're learning, what is the topic of current study? Vairagya, detachment. It's trying to, the Jad Bharat is trying, or Sukadeva Goswami is trying to teach the process of Vairagya. So this whole topic we are studying is all leading us to Vairagya. So Śrīmad Bhāgavatam teaches Jnana, Vairagya, Bhakti. There are so many topics of Bhakti, like Prahlad Maharaj is teaching Bhakti, British Maharaj is teaching Bhakti. So there's Jnana, Vairagya, Bhakti, Naiskarma. Karma Kanda is completely rejected in Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. It does not touch, does not mean. Right in the beginning it says, it declares Karma Kanda as the Kaitava Dharma. Completely given up. Śrīmad Bhāgavatam is a spotless Purana. It is the most dear to the Vaishnava because it describes the pure and supreme knowledge of the Paramahamsas. This Śrīmad Bhāgavatam reveals the means to become free from all material work, together with the process of transcendental knowledge, renunciation and devotion. Anyone who seriously tries to understand Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, who properly hears and chants it with the devotion, becomes completely liberated. This is Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. So I'll end here. Any comments, questions, any corrections? Yes, Gyanaprabhu. Completely liberated? In my understanding, what is it? Let's have a look. The Sanskrit word used here is vimuchyate. Vimuchyat becomes totally liberated. It is referring to, as I understand, is the being free from this cycle of birth and death and returning back home, back to Godhead. That is what I understand. So it says, who properly hears and chants it with devotion becomes completely liberated. Even while he's living, for example, in our acharyas, those who were like Raghunath Das Goswamis or the Goswamis of Vrindavan, even though they were, if you look at their bodily comfort and their living, the condition, everything, we could say, oh, they're not really, how are they enjoying it? But however, even though they are living here in the material world with the same body, they were completely aloof. They were liberated from this condition of material pangs, sufferings. Even though they're living here. So devotion services takes them into different level, different platform, that the material, even though externally it may appear to be they're suffering or something, but they're aloof, they're liberated. So that applies in this material world. However, if you are out of this material world and return back home, back to Godhead, of course, there's no sufferings there. So that's my understanding of becoming completely liberated. While you're here in this material world, you perform a devotion service, you're not really affected by the material modes. And if you're out of this material world, then of course you are in the spiritual world. The spiritual world does not have those sufferings. So then you're liberated. As I understand. Prabhupada, you had something?
This verse is very strong talking about.
Sure.
So even as devotees, we hear some of our Krishna consciousness, and we many times after so many years of practicing Krishna consciousness, we still don't get it. So is it that it takes a long time for purification, even like it says many lifetime? But this verse there is very strong. Is it like those times when Radha Bharata was speaking to Rahugana, that time they were more advanced, even though Rahugana was at that different age, so he could immediately surrender to and understand what he was talking. But we, in this Kali Yuga, and even we hear so much, even though This is why what you said in this class, it makes me very, like I'm so fallen, like, and I feel very happy to hear you speak all these things. And so, why is it so difficult for us, even though it's so clear, the process? How much we need to hear? It says, Shravana, you said just now, Shinvatam Sukadeva Krishna, but we're hearing it. What is it that's holding us up? Just you can just pick a little bit of that. I mean, we know.
It's a genuine question. I think I'm sitting here. I'm in the same boat as everybody else. So, yeah, it is true that we hear day in day out, but we're still struggling in our focus or in our devotional service, and we think, just. Why? You could look at it that just recalls me. But there's a question to Prabhupada by one of the devotees here, and when Prabhupada inaugurated this temple, and I think one of the devotees asked, "How long does it take to become Krishna consciousness?" Prabhupada opened his big eyes and he said, 1 minute. And then he repeated it again. He said, 1 minute. Yeah, just in this version. There's a whole clip of somebody circulating. I saw that. Yeah.
1 second.
Then he even reduced it down to from 1 minute he reduced down to even 1 second. I think it was. You're right. Yeah. Does not take a long time to become a devotee. And then Prabhupada also gave an answer. What is that requirement to do? He says, Sarva dharman parityaj. He quoted that verse. Surrender to Krishna. How long does it take to surrender to Krishna? He just said, Krishna, here, I am today from you, here onwards. It's you. It takes a few seconds, even a minute. So, there are many things to look at. You look at one side is your karma. It's also somewhat, if you have a punya, sravana kirtana, if you have the punya, enough punya, you take it to Krishna consciousness faster. There's karmic also. You have to have karmic balance. You have to have mercy. Mercy of the devotees also acts very here in this thing. Bhagavatam, reading and teachings of sadhu sangha. So many factors that they put together accelerates our devotion service. For those who want to surrender, they can, as Prabhupada makes a point, it takes 1 minute. For someone, they will have the sadhu kripa, the Vaishnava kripa, Shastra knowledge, Guru kripa, and sadhu sangha, and all those things, all those factors will accelerate their devotion service, go faster. For someone, it will take many lifetimes, bahunam janmanam ante, many lifetimes. So it all varies. You cannot put, just say, this is the only formula. It has many factors to come together to, yes. And at the same time, the Maya has a service to keep us binding there. So she does her service also. She's also powerful. So we have a constant battle between Maya and actually trying to perform the devotion service. So there's no one answer to your question. Is that how do we go faster? It is up to the individuals, and there are many other factors that also come to play. That you do, kirtan, prasadam, guru, shastra, sadhu sangha, deity worship. There are many factors that will accelerate your devotion service. It's not just one factor. So it is up to the individuals how seriously we take and perform. And that will go according to that speed. That's my understanding.
I also believe that some of us may be devotees every time we explain what we explain, like we are devotees for many years, but every time here, even if the same thing, it feels so good to hear. It's almost like new and fresh. So that's what you were saying, like we need to hear the Bhagavatam regularly because it's ever fresh, even though it's the same thing. But if our intention, if for something else, we will not understand that, even though it's like you were saying, you drink the nectar, it goes in very quickly because it's so perfect. But also as devotees, we don't just swallow it in, we're also relishing it. And then when that relish that, we feel it enhances our understanding and we are experiencing it. Yeah. So it was very nice class, thank you.
9 o'clock. So we'll end here. Grantaraj Śrīmad Bhāgavatam ki jai, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Shri Radha Vallabh ki jai, Shri Gaunitai ki jai, Shri Jagannath Baldev Subhadramai ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Melbourne Mahaprabhu Mandir ki jai, Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol.